Sitting back on the road, back on the road, and back on the road, and back on the road. City cycle.
Hi folks, so thank you for stopping by. If you would like to learn how to build a camper van like this yourself, then please check out my other YouTube videos. So if you guys have found these videos helpful, you can help me out in a big way by picking up a copy of my first ever album that my brother and I recorded in Nashville late last year. Any proceeds will go to future recording projects, as well as taking the band on tour and hopefully promoting it. I'll leave a link in the description and talk a little bit more about it at the end of this video. So this is going to be the sink and the tap unit. Previously used a Smith one, which worked really well for a camper conversion, and this time around we're going with something a little bit different. So I'm going to turn what was an old fish pan into the sink, and we're going to use this old hand pump here for the tap, which is quite quirky. They're both made of brass. I've cleaned up the bottom side of this, and you can see how much better that's already looking. So I'll show you how to quickly clean up brass if you're going to do this yourselves, and how to turn anything that's a bit quirky. You can use salad bowls, any kind of bucket, and turn it into a sink. So we'll show you how to do this now. So for this job I'm using Brasso. Make sure you shape the can well, and then we're just going to dab a little bit onto one. We've got a dusting cloth here. Apply it onto the top and give it a nice coat, and then we're going to rub it off with a dry cloth, and we're just going to buff it up and polish it and make it nice and clean. Apply it in a small area, and then we're going to take it back off with the other cloth. See how much is coming off already. Take the other cloth and just give it a really good buff. Depending how dirty your thing is, you might have to do this a few times, but you can probably see already the difference between this area and there. We're just going to carry the whole way around, and there is the transformation. Very shiny. I'm just going to drill a hole in here. Okay, now I can swap them back over, and this whole saw piece will cut a nice perfect circle for our plug hole to fit in. So you just want to check that your hole saw piece isn't going to take too much out. We obviously want this lip to have something to hold on to. So with our metal file that we used for our window, we'll just soften these in. So in case you wanted to know, I think this is a brass pan. It was actually, I think it was a fish pan originally that I got on eBay, which I thought looked quite quirky. So if you want to get one of those, you could search for that. This is what we're going to be using. This is the siphon. So the plug hole will go on here, like so, and it will basically, there'll be a bolt that will go into there, and it will siphon out through the bottom like so. So I put the sink in place, and I've just been working out, just on judging it, whether it's going to come in the actual unit itself, and obviously not down this part. So I'm going to go to the hole, I'm going to draw a circle using the circle we cut out as a guide. Okay. And then I'm going to take our siphon, because this is the width that we need to fit right up to the sink, and I'm going to place it over the top of that and draw around it, and then we know where we need to cut. I'm just going to point out that you might not obviously be wanting to use the same method that I'm using with the sink, etc. You might be using one of those Smith units, which are pretty tidy because they have everything sort of in one place, the sink and the hobs together. You can buy a template like this. I don't know why it doesn't come with the Smith units themselves, but you can buy these cardboard templates on eBay. This one's a bit battered now, but I used this in the last one, and it's a really good fit. So you just simply place it over the top, draw around it, and then you can use a jigsaw to cut it out. To get my hole, I'm going to actually use a jigsaw because I don't have a hole saw piece that's the right size. So first I'm going to make a hole for me to enter in with. And I'm going to go in with my jigsaw now just to create that hole. If you've got a hole saw piece that's the right size, obviously that's much better, but I do just need to fit that siphon in there. Just check that fits, which it does. Happy days. So a little problem is that our siphon, because it's got this bit coming out here at an angle, it won't actually go all the way down the worktop and connect with the plug hole. So I'm going to have to take a little bit off around these edges just so that I can fit this inside. So I'm going to use a router for this. So that the hose is going to be coming off of there, so we're going to need to route out a little bit more and channel out this area too. What a mess, eh? That does fit now. Shouldn't ever be a need to change this anyway, but just in case someone did, I might just try and square this up a little bit so it looks a bit cleaner, but then we'll be good to go. Right, so we've got a couple of coats of Danish oil on here now. I'm going to now put my sink into place and attach it all up while it's actually off the kitchen unit. These are the same plug holes that they use on the SMEV units, in case you're using one of those. I'm going to take the rubber piece first, okay? Then we're going to take the actual plug hole bit, put that on top, then take our siphon, put that underneath, and we'll take our little screw there, and we want to get a screwdriver here, just screw it down. Let's go put that in place. I'll show you what it looks like underneath. There's the siphon there. Okay, so it's going to come out around that way there, and I'll lead it to a jerry can down this way. If you're using one of the SMEV units, you'll have a tap that's quite easy to just screw in. If you're going something a little bit quirkier like me, I'm just going to quickly show you how I did this in case you guys want to do the same. The trouble we have here is that our worktop is 19mm thick, and this is something like, I think it was 12mm thick, so it's not going to reach to the bottom of the worktop. So what I'm going to have to do, make a hole all the way through that's the size of this part here, and then I'm just at the very top of the worktop. I'm going to take about 6 or 7mm of this thickness here, so that it will sit inside it, and then this bottom bit will be able to reach the bottom of the worktop so that I can join it on and screw it in. So I'm using one of these flat bits. This is 16mm wide, which is the same width as my bottom part here. I'm going to use my router here. Just got a circular piece on it. Alright, so that was a little bit tricky, but we have a tap in now. It's not properly bolted down at the moment. I've got one issue, is that it makes quite a lot of noise when you compress it. The other problem we have as well is that the washer doesn't quite come up to the underside of the worktop, so it's obviously not bolted down properly in place at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of rubber that I'm going to place under here, which will lift the tap up so that the washer will fit up against the worktop, but also the rubber will hopefully deaden some of that noise. So we're going to go ahead and cut some of that now. And I'm going to be reusing some of these rubber mats that were left in the van when I bought it. There's our piece of rubber. There we go. Well, hey, fits in there. With a lot of work, what we've done with this tap here is we've created 2 depths. One for this part, and then one for the little lead part coming out at the bottom, and put a big washer on top of the bolt, and then we've screwed it down underneath here, and that washer is helping to keep it in place. I'm going to go ahead and put some sealant around here just to finish this off. I've masked it all off, because then I can peel that away later to hopefully give me a fairly clean finish. So for our sink then, I've done a similar thing that we've just done with our tap. I've applied a nice bead all around the edge here of the base of our sink. and I'm going to add a little bit more all around these edges, and I'm actually going to use that to hold it into place, and then I'll assess whether I want to put another bead around the outer edge once it's in place. So as you can see then, we've got sealing around both the sink and the tap now. Great, so now that sink and our tap are in, I'm going to plumb it all in. So to help me do this, I'm actually going to be using some of these Jubilee clips. I've got like a big bag, a variety bag of different sizes, because they come in useful as the build goes on. So this is going to be my wastewater pipe, this black one here, and this blue one will be for the fresh water. And I don't know if you can see that, there's the siphon there, so that's where my wastewater is going to be coming from. So let's go ahead and get it in. I'm going to feed this onto here. Luckily my sink isn't totally in place. But you can see why I've routed all this out now to make a little bit of room. I could have done with a little bit more to make this a bit easier. But so yeah, as you can see, I've just got to push it over these ridges here. I need to give it a bit of a twist. These have to be like one of the top 5 least fun things to do when you're working on a van. Right, so I did take mine off so it was easier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this Jubilee clip, and then you can tighten it up with a screwdriver to make sure you get a nice tight seal. So that's not going anywhere. I'm going to reinstall that. So you can see our black one's in. I'm now going to attempt to get this in. You can see what I mean by the washer as well, holding that in place. Again, like I say, if you can't get these on, just put them in some really hot water and that'll do the trick. So I'm going to push that, I'm going to butt it right up against there, and then we can take our Jubilee clip here and we can tighten it down. Right, that is going nowhere. That should be nice and tight, but we're going to do a little test just to make sure. Cut this pipe now. I'm going to use just a blade like this. Top. There we go. That can pop in there. Like that. So we have water. Fresh water works, and so does the wastewater. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Please like and subscribe and check out our other content on all things camper. As I mentioned before, I've just recorded my first album. We'll need all the help I can get. So I'll leave you with an album preview for now, and a link in the description if you'd like to pick up a copy.
Joe Edwards is de naam. Zijn album heet Keep On Running, en daarvan hoorde je het nummer Trouble.
Le couple schachten nous leis een album nieuw show leis Keep On Running.
Joe Edwards from the UK. Don't let the bastards get you down. Yeah, right.
Que sale el 22 de mayo a través de Teeny Mountain Records. Aquí está Joe Edwards.
Well, ain't a feeling right. Been burning up in the night. Yeah, but I can't tell when it's gonna end. So keep on running, gotta keep on running through the heat. Well, you got it. Well, I'm $6 short, but my soul is clean. I need one more time. Well, set the fuel lights on. Well, 20 minutes from home. Yeah, but before I get there, the engine's blowing.